What is rent-seeking behavior? Professor Richard Wolff tells us all about it today. Leave your comments, ding the bell, tell your friends about our channel, please, and subscribe. I remember a phrase that really struck me when I read it back. This has been at least 20 or 30 years ago, and I think I was reading Henry George. It might have been Schumpeter, and I might just be mixing up my old economists or whatever, but the phrase was rent-seeking behavior. And this idea of somebody being a rentier, I think it would be how it would be pronounced in the French. Can you tell me what that is and what I'm remembering?
Yes, you know, the history of capitalism is where these ideas come from. There was the attempt early on when capitalism basically broke out of and revolted against the prior system in Europe, which was feudalism. There was an attempt to portray the capitalist as that dynamic entrepreneurial person who takes a risk and starts a business and thereby, through his own or her own ingenuity and stick-to-itness, makes a successful production of goods and services for the community. A very positive, a very wholesome, a very attractive image. And in that image, there's nobody laying around, as you said at the beginning of the program, getting a nice tan at the pool and cashing in on all of this. That would have been the last image in the world they would have wanted to portray. Here's the problem. Over time, capitalism produces, it always does, a core of very, very rich people. They are a minority, a small minority in every case in the history of the world. They are a small minority, but they accumulate wealth far beyond anything they could conceivably want to consume. After the 10th house and the biggest chateau and the biggest yacht, et cetera, what do? Well, they end up becoming an important player in the society, but in an entirely new way. They don't do anything. What they do is give access to their wealth to other people who use it for productive purposes. But they don't do that out of the goodness of their heart. What they say to other people who are ingenious and who do want to start a business, you have a good idea, you have a lot of energy, but you don't have any money because the money is concentrated in the hands of us rich folks. But we will cut you a deal. We'll give you access for a while to some of what we have, but we'll only do that if you take a portion of whatever profits you get and pay us for having given you access to the money we have. That's called rent-seeking. And the people who do that, who are rich enough to do it, are called rentiers. And all that means is people who live off the rent. These are people who've accumulated money, and typically it's people who've inherited the money from somebody else. They sit with this big pile of money. For example, think of every Rockefeller that we've had since the original John D. All those people inherited wild amounts of money. They make that money available if they choose. They're entirely free to do it or not do it, but they can make it available and demand a cut of whatever is done with it, and that's their rental receipt, and they can live off that really well.